On October 7th, 2001, the United States launched Operation Enduring Freedom, the official name used by the U.S. government for the global war on terrorism. As we all know, that war started in Afghanistan. In 2003, a U.S.-led coalition invaded Iraq and overthrew the government of Saddam Hussein. Since these two conflicts began, 1.9 million U.S. personnel were deployed in both countries. Sadly, some are still there. Other than November 11th, the date officially set aside by Congress in 1918, now called Veterans Day, it recognized the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month that marked the end of World War I. No matter what war has been fought in our history, far too many veterans are marginalized and forgotten once they come home. They take off the uniform and store it in the closet. What now? Flash forward to 2020, and there are nearly 4.2 million disabled veterans, with more than a quarter of them permanently scarred from the wars. Long after their time on the battlefield ends, these men and women continue a personal fight to regain their sense of self, security, and community. Far too often, they lack the services needed to aid in their transition, and they end up with barely a roof over their heads, or in some cases, homeless. While many organizations are contributing to their efforts to alleviate the plight of our veterans, there is one extraordinary individual in our universe who wakes up every day in the service of our veterans' well-being. Her name is Paula Miritello, and she founded and runs an organization called My Brother Vinny. This is her story of transformation. Welcome to A Climb to the Top, Stories of Transformation on Talk Radio 77 WABC. I'm Chuck Garcia, and my guest this evening is Paula Miritello. Paula, welcome to A Climb to the Top.
Hi, Chuck. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you here. The logical question based upon the introductions where I talked about veterans and then I talked about you, and you founded and you run an organization that many of our listening audience may not know, called My Brother Vinny. What is it? How did it happen? And what do you do?
My Brother Vinny is an organization founded in Westchester County, New York, that provides veterans with furniture and housewares. And we provide them with furniture and housewares free of charge throughout the whole Hudson Valley region, New York City, and Northern Jersey. So My Brother Vinny is founded for when a veteran starts over from chronic homelessness. They go into their homes and they have absolutely nothing to start over with. They were provided with housing from the VA. They're provided with federal support for housing. And when they are able to re-assimilate back into life, because a lot of people don't realize our veterans fight for our freedom. And when they come home back into the country, a lot of the veterans that are starting over have scars and they have issues from their time of service, whether it's PTSD, whether it's any kind of substance abuse they might have had over the years, whatever led them to becoming homeless. Our veterans start over after treatment and they go into apartments. And when they start over, there's nothing in place for furniture. And through a chance encounter, I met a veteran that led me to forming my organization. My organization was formed in honor of my brother, but it led me to an awakening that has provided a service for over 1,150 veterans and by fully furnishing their homes.
I appreciate that, and I know that sometimes awakenings in retrospect look like an epiphany moment, but what I know from some of your backstory, there were some events that ultimately led you to a place that sparked your desire to want to start My Brother Vinny. What happened in your life that you are comfortable sharing that may have been some building blocks for the spark that started what is this wonderful transformative organization?
Brother Vinny. Vinny was my actual brother. My brother Vinny has special needs. He passed away in 2000. A lot of times when people hear the story of my child, they personally, Paula Miritello, I had in my younger year, a friend that I was with 5 years that passed away tragically. So I had lost a boyfriend in 1994. That was traumatic. You're a 23-year-old and you think your whole entire life over, or start your whole entire life at a young age. And my boyfriend died. So I kind of shoved it down, and I was like, I'm going to be strong and I'm going to get through this. But I was depressed. I was depressed for a really long time. And then my brother Vinny died in 2000. And I was like, God, how do you take my two favorite people in the whole entire world? Because when my boyfriend died, I wasn't able to openly mourn him because everybody's like, you should get over it, and you'll meet someone else. But I was in pain, and you didn't want anybody to know how horrific it was. And then when Vinny died, I was like, I cannot let my brother die and not be able to openly mourn him and to talk about him. So when Vinny died, my brother Vinny was special needs. He couldn't walk or talk, but he was like my baby. And when he died, I was like, I'm going to do things in Vinny's memory. I work full time, which I still do today. And I'm just going to do a variety of charity work to keep his memory alive, whether it's helping, special needs groups or adults in homes, just anything in memory of Vinny. So at that point, I was just keep doing charity work in Vinny's memory from like 2000. And in 2011, I was in a really bad car accident. And in my car accident, I broke my pelvis in 7 spots. I broke my ribs. I was in the hospital 12 days and I couldn't walk. I went from someone who was able-bodied, doing everything, to someone who being in a wheelchair myself. And my brother Vincent was in a wheelchair his whole entire life. So cope with the fact that I couldn't walk solely, and it gave me a deeper understanding of how he lived his life, being nonverbal and not being able to walk. And it was like the spark started coming alive for me, where I started thinking of the pain I went through and all the losses. So I was, everybody's like, Paula, you should have a charity. You always do charity work in honor of Vinny. I'm like, no, I just love helping people. I love helping people who are homeless, have mental health issues and disabilities. So when I was able to walk again, I took a class at the college about forming a 501c3. And it's still, I started forming my organization to help the homeless people who have mental health issues. And when I formed it in 2013, I was invited to an Armed Forces event. It was an Armed Forces Day event at the Our Lady of Mount Carmel Italian Club. And they're like, Paul, do you want to come to the event? We're going to have an Armed Forces event for the veterans. And I'm like, sure, I'll bring cannolis, I'll bring dessert. And they're like, we're going to bust the veterans out of the VA hospital, the local one, Mantra. And they get to spend the days. We're going to have barbecue for them. So I went to that event. I brought dessert for the veterans, and I started talking to a veteran, and he was telling me that how he was in the VA hospital. He's really excited. He had addiction issues, but then he's like, I'm really happy now because I'm going to start over, and they're going to help me with my apartment. He's like, but I have no furniture. So I was like, I'm Italian. I can ask one of my cousins for furniture. I will absolutely help you if you need anything. I said, take my business card. And I said, when you're ready for help, I'm like, give me a call. It was like every part of my life led to where I was, and me telling him to give me a call, he took my card and ran around the VA saying there's a woman giving out free furniture to veterans.
Oh, great.
I was like, gotta be kidding me. It was crazy.
Right.
And it was crazy. I was, but he said that there was a woman giving out free furniture. The VA invited me in for a meeting, and it's still surreal when I look back in time that they invited me in for a meeting. They explained to me that when veterans are housed, there's nothing in place for furniture, but they are provided with housing called HUD-VASH, which is an amazing program to give them housing support, but they do need help with furniture. And I said, I work a full-time job. I can help every once in a while. And now I'm over 1,163 homes furnished free of charge from that one meeting. So if I didn't have my traumatic loss when I was younger, I didn't lose my brother Vinny, which absolutely broke my heart, because he was the youngest of 6 of us, and he was all of our babies. And then when I had my accident, so I feel like those 3 things led me to where I am today. And although I went through trauma and tragedy at a very young age, I feel like I'm here for a purpose that's greater beyond myself. And I was so depressed in my 20s after losing my boyfriend. It was horrific. And then my brother, I was like, God, you gotta be kidding me. Like, what's the purpose here? But then when I got to where I am, I'm like, I'm strong. I can help people. I have more joy in my heart now through the service I provide to the veterans I support, that I know that each of us are so connected and they're wounded. We'll have different stories that lead us together. But if you love one another and you're kind and you want to make a difference, I think you can move mountains, because look at how we get our furniture from hotel surplus, how I'm dropping tractor trailer. Like, it's, to me, so amazing when you look at how your life can change and you didn't realize this. But then I feel like I was always meant to do this.
Yeah, indeed. And did you build an organization along the way, or was it just you picking up furniture and storing them in a place?
And I have a fantastic community of volunteers around me, and the veterans I help become my volunteers. It is like, I always say, I feel like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, skipping around, picking up people everywhere I go. Like I could be at Dunkin' Donuts talking to the woman at the counter, and I could tell her how fantastic it is when you are helping people. And then she's like, then they usually say, can I help you? And then we join a family. So I always say, when you help one another, the world becomes your family.
How does one know you exist? And then what is the mechanism by which they seek your help?
Well, since we are the primary resource, all the social workers, so we deal with their HUD-VASH social worker. We don't charge the veterans. And the VA does not provide us with any financial support because I am not their social worker. I don't house them. I don't employ them. But I am the only organization that furnishes for them.
Right.
So we fall into a criteria where we don't qualify for certain things from them, but we are very, very fortunate that I truly believe we get what we need. And the universe will provide for us whatever we need. So I can't, even now, I think I try to explain to people, like, they have absolutely nothing. Like this past weekend, I was in the Bronx. I had another crew in Staten Island yesterday. We are in Westchester County, New York, serving such a tremendous area. So we do it with hotel liquidations, the general public supporting us by shopping on our wish list, mailing us our bedding, because we give them the kitchen baskets, the bathroom supplies, their bedding. We give them a brand new bed, which we purchase. I have passion for the work I'm doing. You know, I call my charity. People say they have side gigs in their line to make money and do things, which is amazing. God bless everybody succeed with their passions. But for me, I call this my soul gig. So I figure it out. I have to figure it out because I know people rely on me. And it's like this year alone, through the pandemic, we can stop. The world shut down. You know, my boyfriend Kenny was rolled back out of retirement to help me a lot more because, you know, I have a lot of volunteers now. So I usually don't take him on. He helps with, but not a lot of my deliveries. I'm like, I need you to help me because I have to, you know, load up and have the veterans help us unload where we have to be safe with the pandemic. But I can't leave them with nothing. So I was direct shipping, and, you know, we spent a tremendous amount of money, tons of money coming. We're able to get, thank God, because I'll figure it out either way. And because, you know, when you have a veteran, when you walk in their front door, they burst in tears because they feel like they can't even understand how we're doing this. They don't even understand why we're doing this. And they're like it's amazing. They feel like they want a game show. And we give them such beautiful furniture because our veterans serve our country. They're human beings. And, you know, not everybody has the most perfect upbringing. Some of these veterans went to service and then came back and got incarcerated for decades because they didn't have a foundation prior that was so solid and strong. Now you're trying to rebuild your life and learn again to start over, and then to have someone kind of say, I want to help you and I want to be your friend and not judge you. I think if we behave that way, that's where you'll see change in the world. Yeah, and I'm
yeah. You're listening to A Climb to the Top, Stories of Transformation on Talk Radio 77 WABC. I'm Chuck Garcia. My guest this evening is Paula Miritello. Paula is speaking of the organization she founded called My Brother Vinny, which the name is a reference to her brother who died many years ago. But in the service of his death and a couple other events in her life, she created this wonderful organization and has helped so far over 1,150 vets. In order to sustain the organization, Paula, do you have funding or do people donate to you cash in addition to the furniture? How does it work?
Well, every year we have a walkathon that we have to pray and hope that we'll be successful in our endeavors to do that. We get donations from the general public, but I usually don't have a guarantee. I don't have a guarantee that I'm gonna get through the whole year. I have an idea every few months at a time where I'll have to either plan another event or a fundraiser of some sort, but I do not have a guaranteed grant that provides my services. Like, we have a yearly fundraiser called, it's a My Brother Vinny walk, and it's extra special to me because my brother Vinny couldn't actually walk.
Right.
So for me, I was always touched the foundation of walking together in spirit. My brother Vinny will be gone 20 years, October 25th. You know, so, you know, it's his anniversary of his passing coming up. And so for me, you know, we have the walk as our fundraiser, and we have, you know, Veterans Day is coming around. We hope people will support our work and they'll see that every dollar goes to our services. None of us draw a paycheck, a salary, you know, everything goes into buying our supplies. Our storage is, you know, we have a substantial storage bill because we need massive operations for our work, but I still somehow we figure it out without having guaranteed funding, you know, and it's like,
We want to be sure that
so
before the episode is over, that we leave everybody with a call to action as to where to find you. But before we get to that, because this is a story of transformation, you have been doing this for several years now. So if the organization started in 2013, you're 7 years in, you've helped close to 1,200 vets. God knows how many more you're going to help. What did you learn about yourself along the way? Because you always had the kind heart, and you're moving along, picking up the lion and the scarecrow and everyone else in this as you're heading, I mean, in your yellow brick road. But what about you?
I think you know, for a woman, I think for me, I always felt like I had to fit into the role of what the average woman had to be. I had to get married, I had to have children, I had to have all these plans. And so for me, I kind of never had a lot of the norms that a normal, you know, what you would have felt was the norms back when my generation, when I was younger. And it's like, for me, I feel like as a woman, I think about the fact is that I'm strong, you know, and I am clearly capable of building something that's so beautiful, and it has such a different idea of what love is. You know, for me, I have the foundation of my organization that I created that was built in different parts of my life, you know, and tragedy, and there was heartaches and there was triumphs, but through it all, I can persevere. And I have learned that I have such an extreme faith that, you know, that could have been tested a lot for the losses I went through. And I have such an extreme faith that I always feel things are going to work out. Like, it's like either a guy protect me, but I always feel like something good will happen. And some people can be like, how do you have an organization where you don't have all this guaranteed funding? Because I always believe things will work out. Like, you know, recently we were given a band by Mike Rowe on his show. We didn't solicit it. They somehow found us. It was like the universe knew we needed another band. And then now we're getting another band from the Lions Club. It's like, I think when you put out good in the world, there's no expectation for anything for yourself other than doing good deeds. I think that somehow you get with it, it comes back to you. This past weekend, you know, some of the veterans are like we don't take tips or anything. Like, if you take $1 out of your pocket, my guys will run so fast out of the building, like the building fire. We will never take a tip. And the veteran was telling my younger volunteers that you give good deeds, you do good deeds, and it's so pure. It comes back to you magnified. And for us, we don't do anything with no expectation. We just want to help you. And I think that I learned that no matter how hard things are, I will always find the silver lining in the darkness. And even through the pandemic, how horrible it was, and I pray everybody's safe, but we were still able to figure out how to connect to people and help them and let them know they weren't alone. And if I can do this by working my full-time career, and I mean, I have a full-time job, and my charity is beyond full-time, and with the people that I, you know, join my organization, I am so blessed, and I feel happier now at my age at this point than I ever was in my 20s, young, the answers to the world. I feel like as I'm turning 50 next year, I feel like, wow, I feel like younger. I feel like I have a whole open future for what my plan could be. So I'm surviving, I'm thriving, and I'm praying that will help people more.
You have in common what many guests on our show this past year have, and that is the alignment of passion and purpose. And when you can align those two, and you can go every day out to work in the service of someone other than yourself, everyone who comes onto the show has that same inner energy. It just oozes out. In fact, there is a wonderful book I read many years ago called The Alchemist. And it was written by a Brazilian named Paulo Coelho. Have you heard of it?
I read it.
You read it. Well, The Alchemist,
I read it.
Yeah, and one of the themes of The Alchemist, and you remind me very much of that journey, is that the universe conspires to help the good people in the world. And you are living, you remind me of, I don't remember the character's name, but as he went from Spain to Morocco when he was heading toward Egypt, all throughout like your Wizard of Oz moments, he was picking up and meeting these cast of characters that were having an impact on him. And here you are for the last 7 years, moving along, working in the service of these veterans who in many cases had no one left to turn to except you. Thank you for this wonderful thing that you're doing.
Thank you for allowing me to connect to people. I know that you have your own passion that led you to your climb to the top.
Indeed.
And I think that collectively, when you share your passion with the world, and this is your passion,
Yeah.
you allow other people to share our passion. I think it makes everyone stronger.
Yeah,
You know,
when
for the greater good of people.
when we shine light on the world or on people, I'd like to think that that light shines right back at us, so that we were all guiding each other, because we're all each other's teachers, and we all have these niches that we carved for ourselves. But yours is truly different, because many people are coming to you where they have been broken, battered, they have PTSD, there are physical ailments, they have prosthetics, they have mental, they need help because of the mental disorders. The amount of suicide that has occurred from our veterans is astounding. And many of them, I don't want to conclude they didn't have a Paula Miritello in their life, but for those that did, you have brought a little bit of joy and a lot of furniture and a lot of very practical things that keep them. So tell us then, how can people help? Where can they find you? And tell us about the event you have coming up, where that if people wanted to get involved, how to do it.
You can find us by visiting our website, mybrothervinny.org. We have an Instagram page, our Facebook social media, so please look us up. You can see all our events up to the minute. November is coming up, and November is the month of Veterans Day. So we actually have a 30-day challenge where we're challenging people to raise money for us. It's through our Stars and Stripes challenge. So for the month of November, someone who takes the Stars challenge could raise $30 a day from different individuals for the whole entire month, or you can raise $15 a day. We are hoping that when individual fundraisers support us and rally behind us through the Stars and Stripes challenge, you will help us provide our vital service for the veterans. Also, Veterans Day, is an important holiday to acknowledge the sacrifice that our veterans have made for us in their service. And so we're hoping that people could consider supporting our work, because without us, there is no furniture in place. Website and watch our videos and actually spend time following our stories. I'm hoping that it would inspire you to want us, because we do need help. I do have faith, and I know it sounds like I'm running around with rainbows, but it's a lot of work. It's tremendous. Know that even though the days I'm tired, I find a spark in my heart that will keep pushing me forward and propel me. But mine have a lot more support. I can get a little bit more, continue to expand my resources in other directions. Because this year alone, I had furniture go to Florida, different state, Pennsylvania. So the need that we have for our services expands beyond our own locale. It's a deeper need, and it's so.
And if somebody's listening, if they could help, what would you like from them? So let me give the possibilities. Would you like furniture? Would you like a check? All of the above, or something else?
Okay, if someone is listening to this tape right now, if you have a contact for helping us with beds, I would love for a big bed manufacturer to support us. We buy the veteran Zenith beds, Lynn Spa, had a connection with a company that could help provide us with mattresses for the beds, the rolled up ones, the platform frames. If you would want to work with us and be a supporter, to know that your beds are going to be in homes of veterans, help us, because we don't have tons of money, but they need beds. So I would love to have someone donate 200 sets of Corel to me, because we give them every single thing to start over. So I love in-kind donations. Anything you can do, provide us with resources. Or if you are a big corporation, I think that we have a beautiful organization. And if you have money, I think that we're a wonderful spot to donate it to, because it's instant impact. You don't have to be this $1 million organization or have millions of dollars to move mountains. And I think we prove with our limited resources that we can make a big difference. And we are hands-on. So if you want to know if a U.S. veteran is being taken care of, look us up. My Brother Vinny is an organization that is at a foundation of when a veteran starts over. And if your Veterans Day is here, if you want to actually make a difference, we are the difference, and we need your support.
And again, let's repeat the website. Your website is?
mybrothervinny.org. It's VINNY.org.
Okay.
mybrothervinny.org. Yes, mybrothervinny.org. Yeah.
Fantastic. In the time that we have remaining, we always ask ourselves, and we always ponder the question for the people that are listening. We touched on it, but let's get a little bit more personal here. What do you want others who may be contemplating something like what you're doing? What do you want them to think? What do you want them to feel about the possibilities of what they could do? And then what do you want them to do if they are thinking the way you have to start an organization for some cause greater than themselves?
I want people to trust their gut, listen to their heart, and actually, if you feel something greater than yourself, it's there. And if you feel like there's, like when I started running my organization, I lost a lot. I had friendships that changed. I had, you weren't invited out as much because you were always busy. So people kind of like separated from me. So I had to make conscious choices in my friendship. So if you want something and it's important to you and you feel the fire's there, you're going to have sacrifices. You're going to have a lot of sacrifices in your life that be strong and just keep pushing through. And then maybe people will tell you what you're doing is not normal, or maybe you're not the same, but you know what? I'm not the same. I'm not the same as an average role that people may have taken. So just, if you want to do it, you can do it. Research, read. I mean, I didn't have a blueprint for what I started, and look at us now. There was no plan. You can make your own plan. I think that's the beauty of being alive. Mm-hmm. And don't count yourself out for your age. You can start something over 70 years old or 80 years old. I mean, look at the presidential election. We have, people are older. You can do anything you want at any age in your life, right? Yeah. I mean, like any age you want to be, there's potential for anybody. Right. So don't feel like you lost it.
But you climbed the mountain a step at a time. You didn't know at first in 2013. You had one veteran, then you helped two, then you helped four, and then now you know it. You're you're going to be at 1,200 soon enough. Well, you have all, to our listeners, thank you as always for tuning in every Sunday evening. You have listened to a Climb to the Top Stories of Transformation on Talk Radio 77 WABC. I'm Chuck Garcia. I am grateful. We have had such a great pickup in our audience. We have so many listening from so many places, and I am blessed for that. And Paula Miritello, thank you for coming on and telling your story of mybrothervinny.org. It was wonderful to hear this.
Thank you so very much. I'm blessed that you allowed me to come onto your show to share with your audience, and I hope that we inspired someone in some way by listening to us, and I am grateful that they even took the time to hear my voice.
Yeah, and I'm going to say it one more time. Anyone who can help Paula in cash or in kind, please look her up on mybrothervinny.org. Go into the website, read more about their story. We are airing this episode very close to Veterans Day, and it is so close to the 20-year anniversary of the death of Paula's little brother, Vinny. We honor his spirit. Paula, thank you so much for going to work every day in your soul gig in the service of our veterans. We are very blessed that you are in this world with us.
Thank you. I'm blessed to have you also in this world.
And good night to our